Hey everyone, it's Deb here, and I wanted to give you a quick update for the results for the Carb Challenge and see, what did everybody else discover. I know a few of you were kind of messing around with it to see what you could find. To begin with, I started off at 170 2 weeks ago on Friday, February 1st, when I kind of came up with this idea. And I chose to do, 20 grams of protein. I tried that for a couple of days, and it kind of made me sick, and I couldn't really do it. It was not a real reasonable thing for me to even try. So I aimed for 40 and had a little trouble keeping that too. So I ended up settling on 60, keeping it under 60 grams of carbs, and that was a doable thing for me. I was able to do that. So I think that's where I sort of settled as far as my average goes. I went up a couple of days over that, but in general I stayed at 60, and I had no trouble upping my protein over 100. That wasn't a big deal. There's always ways to get protein in for me as far as, that goes. So I think there's something, what I discovered is today, when I weighed myself, I was 165. So that's 5 pounds in 2 weeks, which is better than my average. My average has been 2 or 1.5 to 2 the last several months, and I think I had 7 in December and 9 in November, so I was kind of slowing down. So if I can do 5 in 2 weeks, that puts me more at 10 a month, which is what I really would. That's my goal. And I'm at 165, which I haven't seen 165. I'm in numbers now I haven't seen for much more than 10 years. I think possibly 10 years ago I got down to 160. That's the lowest number I've seen. So I'm getting down to numbers that I haven't seen in such a long time. And it feels good. It's one of those, places that I wanted to be. So anyways, you kind of have to decide. I think it was good for us to just step back and look at our logging and see, experiment a little bit with what would help and what wouldn't help, what could we live with and what could we not live with. I think this is a matter of, we don't want to shift and make it extreme. We want to set up something that we can live with kind of the rest of our lives. It's not really a diet, but it's a diet change. A diet as far as, let's do something until we lose weight and then stop. Now things will shift and evolve as we hit our goal and go to maintenance, because they're going to probably have to, because some people have trouble with the weight stopping going off, but I'm hoping to have that problem, and then I can shift it the other way. But if I look at this last couple of weeks, I think what I learned, and I was talking with Bridget, who is BJW1965. Hi, Bridget. And she kind of messed around with her carbs and stuff and protein this week, and she kind of came to the same conclusion that 60 grams of carbs, 100 grams of protein is a pretty good formula. Her calories are different than mine. I don't know what her calories were exactly, but mine were actually higher probably this last couple of weeks than they had been prior. I probably averaged closer to 1,200 versus averaging closer to 1,000. I have my goal set at 1,000, and I think that's mostly because I don't want to go below 1,000 anymore. I think I'm to the point where below 1,000 might slow my weight loss. And it certainly doesn't seem to matter if I go above 1,000 a little bit. So that's kind of where I learned and where I'm at and what's going on this last couple of weeks. I think it was a success in that stepping back and looking at it. And I did manage to lower my carbs. I didn't lower my carbs that much. It may have been as much or more raising my protein, because I think my protein was around 70 to 80, maybe 90. And, sometimes, and I raised it now, it's over 100. So it's 105, 110, somewhere in there. So that, and combined with lowering my carbs a little bit, because my carbs were around 70 to 90, and I've kept them closer to 60. So I think that combination and that formula seems to be a good one for me now. Now, you could argue that it was coincidence and that I had been on a stall for a couple of weeks, my body was ready to lose weight again, and it let the weight go. So, it's one of those things where you can take bits and pieces of what everybody else discovers, but you have to kind of find your own way and your own formula, what works for you, what's something you can maintain comfortably. So that's my results for the last couple of weeks, and I'm curious to see what others discovered. Chime in. Did you did you discover that it totally carbs had nothing to do with it, or that you found a new place to put your carbs, or it was more about protein, or whatever. I'm just curious to see what everybody else discovers. So talk to you guys later. Bye.